Ibaraki and Tokyo. We start in the Middle East, where the U.S. president is on the second day of his tour in the region. Donald Trump met with the leaders of the Gulf Cooperation Council in the Saudi Arabian capital on Wednesday. He spoke on the situation in Gaza. The GCC is a political and economic alliance of 6 Arab nations bordering the Persian Gulf. Trump said he wants to advance ceasefire talks in cooperation with the Gulf states.
I greatly appreciate the constructive role that the leaders in this room have played in trying to bring the terrible conflict to an end, including by helping secure the release of American hostages.
Trump also expressed hope more countries would make efforts to normalize ties with Israel. On its first day in Riyadh, the U.S. leader met one-on-one with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The White House said they agreed to strengthen their strategic partnership. Washington said Saudi Arabia is committing to investment in the U.S. worth $600 billion. Those funds include an arms deal worth $142 billion. The U.S. will sell items related to missile defense, maritime security, and modernizing the military, among others. For more insight, my colleagues Yamata and I talked to NHK World's Jordan Brandel in Riyadh.
So Jordan, Trump will be happy with his Middle East tour so far. And what stands out to you among his deals in Riyadh? Well, the United States and Saudi Arabia are on course to significantly strengthen economic ties, something that Trump had been calling for before his departure. And now he's secured what the White House claims is the largest arms deal in history. At the same time, there are concerns in the United States about the way Trump turned a blind eye to Saudi Arabia's human rights record. Instead, he positively heaped praise on the Crown Prince.
Trump's tour is triggering a flurry of diplomatic activity across the region, including Syria. What can we expect in the coming days?
Right. Trump is now poised to lift sanctions against Syria. What's interesting is how the U.S. president revealed he's acting on request from both Saudi Arabia and Turkey. So we can frame his decision as a diplomatic gesture aimed at securing Washington a few brownie points in the Middle East. Trump's second stop is Qatar. There are hopes his visit could boost talks for a ceasefire and hostage deal in Gaza. And beyond that, Ukraine and Russia are edging towards ceasefire negotiations in Turkey. Trump has been pressuring President Vladimir Putin into joining the talks, but nothing has been confirmed about the Kremlin so far. And the same goes for Trump himself. If both leaders do attend, the entire world will be watching with bated breath.
The head of the World Trade Organization has welcomed moves by the U.S. and China to cool their tariff wars. But she says global economic growth continues to be under threat from Washington's stance on trade. WTO Director General Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala spoke to NHK in Tokyo on Wednesday. He expressed concern that Trump's tariffs could lead to a worldwide decoupling of economic links.
Such a decoupling could lead to fragmentation of world trade, which would have quite severe consequences for global growth of trade. It is very, very clear that if the world, the trading system, fragments into 2 blocks, we have actually modeled it, and we will lose up to 7% of global GDP in the longer term.
Okonjo-Iweala reiterated the importance of free trade. He said globalization has helped lift many countries into prosperity. But at the same time, she said, the WTO faces challenges such as the uneven distribution of wealth and widening disparity. She advocated the concept of re-globalization to address the issue. This involves spreading out supply chains to support countries and areas that have yet to benefit from global development.
Let's take concentrate supply chains to those parts of rich countries that didn't benefit and to poor countries. And I think at the same time we kill two birds with one stone. We build a more resilient world system, and we also include those left behind.
Washington and Beijing have cut additional import tariffs on each other's products in line with their agreement. The Trump administration also slashed the levy imposed earlier this month on low-value shipments of goods from China. Until May 2nd, shipments valued under $800 could enter the U.S. free of duty and taxes. Chinese online retailers such as Temu and Shein have benefited from the exemption policy. But Washington imposed a 120% tariff on the value of each package, or a flat fee of $100. That rate has now been cut to 54%. The U.S. and China said on Monday they had agreed to cut their additional tariffs by 115 percentage points at trade talks in Switzerland. Washington has slashed its extra levy from 145% to 30%, and Beijing cut its rate from 125% to 10%. 24 percentage points out of the 115 have been halted for 90 days rather than scrapped, as the two sides plan to continue negotiations. Staying with U.S.-China trade relations, American media say China has removed a ban that stopped Chinese airlines from taking delivery of jets from U.S. aviation giant Boeing. In April, Boeing said a number of airlines in China had refused to receive its planes amidst the tariff escalation. Beijing bashed the move. It said the U.S. tariffs had caused both Chinese airlines and Boeing to suffer greatly. On Tuesday, Bloomberg and other U.S. media outlets reported that officials in Beijing had told domestic carriers they could take delivery of the U.S.-made aircraft again. In addition to rolling back tariffs, China had indicated it would act to suspend or lift other countermeasures. The decision to have Boeing aircraft again is seen as one such step. But U.S. media outlets say it is unclear if Chinese airlines will actually take the jets, as trade talks are still underway.